Hello everyone and welcome back to another video on the RabbitMQ tutorial series. In the previous video we took a look at how we can send messages to the RabbitMQ server, and in this video we are going to take a look how we can actually consume those messages. So we are going to start off by creating another class similar to our sender. We're going to name it something like consumer or whatever you want, and in it we are going to implement a logic to consume those messages. So let's get started. We are going to create a new class, named consumer. It's again a component in Spring, and we can actually copy it from sender this logger, because we are going to log our messages that we consume. So let's just do that, and let's create another private void so this will be a method in which we are going to listen for messages. So let's add a try catch block, and all of the exceptions that happen, we are going to log them. So log error, we are interested in the message and in the stack trace. Okay, we are going to start off similar as what we did here. We are going to have our factory, and we again staying by the default values here, so just leave it as it is. And factory, we're going to create a new connection, and we are going to, the connection can be final, and we are going to create a new channel. So channel, and again a channel can be final. So it's basically exactly the same as what we have here. And now we are going to declare our queue. So a queue in which our messages are going to go and from where we are going to consume them. So channel queue declare, and queue needs a name which we are going to add, and there are a few settings here which are going to set false and null. For example, you can read about these, but for example this one means that should the queue survive if the server restarts, and is it exclusive for just this class, and should it be auto deleted and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, you can definitely read up on the documentation. So let's add our queue name to our util class. Static final string. So we're going to declare it in the consumer. We are going to use RabbitMQ utils, and of course I forgot the getter, so we go back and getter for queue, and it doesn't like me again, IntelliJ. So let's go back to consumer, get, okay, Rabbit, nope. So it's, how did I name it? RabbitMQ util. Why is this so hard? Okay, let's just copy it from here. So import it, get queue. Perfect. So we have declared our queue. Now we have to bind our queue to the exchange that we are using. So we are going to do that by calling channel queue bind, then you say which queue, so by the name, so it's this queue, and the next parameter is, if we jump here we can actually see that, so it's the exchange and the routing key, and we have the exchange and the routing key again in our util class. So get exchange and RabbitMQ get routing key. Perfect. So we have declared our queue, and we have we did the binding in between the queue and the exchange, and now we are going to consume the messages. So we do it again on the channel, and then we can say basic consume, and again you have to say on which queue you're consuming the messages from. Then we have some different settings, like for example we have here, I think we're going to use this one, it will be false for now, and then we will have some callback with the tag, and yeah, so it's the consumer tag and the message. So this is what will happen when we consume the message. And then also we have here again consumer tag and a signature callback. So this is what will happen once we once the connection is cancelled. So if something happens, and what will happen, what would we want to do. So it's just a callback. And here, for example, you can see if we set this to false, that would mean that all of the messages that we consume will get requeued. So if we send a message, we consume it, it will get requeued, meaning that we can, as soon as we start the application again, we can again read the same message over and over. So if that means if we set this acknowledgement to false, but we are going to set it to true actually, because as soon as we consume the message, we don't care about it, so we can just ignore it. Okay, and then what do we do when we have this, when we actually, on the callback, when we actually receive the message? Let's just log it. So we're going to use our logger to say info and something like got message, and what message do we got? So the message that we are getting are those bytes that we sent, so we need to create a string. So we can say new string, and we are going to say message get body, which are the bytes, and okay, and we're going to use the UTF-8, and it's complaining about something. What? Okay, I definitely imported the wrong string, so that's not what I wanted to do. So just get rid of that import, and here we are going to log an error with this sig.message. So we're going to log an error message if something disconnects. Okay. So that's about it, and again we are going to just copy it from the sender class, so this post construct, so we're going to listen for the messages in this method. This method doesn't have to be named like this, by the way, you can just name it whatever you want, and here we are just going to use this. And that's about it, unless I forgot something, but we're going to find out. So let's just start our application, and we should be able to see, yeah, so it's asking us to enter our message, and we can see here got message, and we can write hello world, and we can see got message hello world. So everything works nice, as the same as we would expect. Maybe we can just change our sender that when we enter our message here, so in the send message, before we send it, we could append maybe our how is it called, maybe even here we can append the local date, so just the timestamp. So it's just that we can easily see when we have sent this message. So nothing special, but it's a nice thing to have. So let's try it again. Hello. So we sent hello message at this timestamp. Perfect. So that would be it for this video. As you can see, consuming messages is actually rather simple, and yeah, so you can now play around with it. You should be able to see these messages also in in the interface I showed in the previous videos. So the queue should be now there shown, and you can actually open it and take a look at it. So everything should be there. Just play around with it and see how it goes. Maybe in one of the next videos we can actually build a microservice, because currently we are doing everything in the same project. So we are in a Spring project, and we created 2 components here, and they're just communicating with each other via RabbitMQ. But what would be interesting is to have maybe 2 separate Spring projects, or maybe one project but different modules, so that they can't directly communicate, so they have to communicate via RabbitMQ. So for example, imagine that you have your main application, and then you have a microservice. One way of communication would be, for example, via REST request, so HTTP connection, and the other one would be, for example, with the RabbitMQ. That would be nice, so maybe we can build that in the next video. But for now, you're basically done with RabbitMQ basics, so you know already how to send and how to consume messages. So this would help you out, hopefully. And of course, this doesn't even have to do, you don't have to do it with Spring. You can even do it without Spring. So if you don't want to use Spring, you don't have to. So this can be just a normal Java application. I did it with Spring because of the next videos, and it's actually quite easy to create a project with it. So why not? So that would be everything for this video. If you have any questions, do let me know, and I will try to get them as soon as possible. Thank you very much, and I guess we see each other in one of the next videos.